Imagine stepping into a city that's just a true melting pot. Vibrant, full of energy, maybe a bit overwhelming when you first land. What if you could get a shortcut, like a real guide to understanding what it's actually like to live there, work there, maybe even thrive? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, Jakarta, Indonesia's massive, bustling capital. Our mission's really to give you the essential insights, the stuff you'd need if you're thinking about a move, or honestly, even if you're just curious about this incredibly dynamic place. And a lot of the amazing detail we're looking at today comes from moveandstay.com. They've been doing this for over 25 years, helping business folks and expats find places to stay, short-term, long-term, all across Asia. They really get the tricky parts of moving. So we're tapping into that quarter century of know-how for you. We'll cover, finding a home, sorting out finances, building a social life, and yeah, tackling daily stuff like that famous Jakarta traffic. Okay, let's unpack this. So Jakarta, often pictured as this huge, sprawling city, right? And yeah, it is. But the source material we have paints his picture of a real melting pot. People from everywhere. It makes for this really dynamic atmosphere. It says it's pretty normal to meet people from Europe, America, Asia, Australia, all in one day. What does that kind of global mix actually feel like for someone just arriving?
Yeah, it's fascinating. And that diversity, it really shapes the expat community itself. A lot of people coming in are working in fields like finance, tech, education, or maybe NGOs, development work, pretty common sectors. And the guide emphasizes something important. The community is generally really welcoming, supportive, which is, a huge plus when you're new to a city this big. But, and this is key, while Jakarta is modernizing like crazy, it is still a developing country. So you kind of need to adjust your expectations. Efficiency might not mean fast, like back home, little infrastructure quirks are just part of the deal. Being open-minded isn't just like nice advice. It's pretty essential to actually connect.
That adaptability sounds absolutely key. So, okay, beyond just being open-minded,
Yeah.
how do you actually navigate the local culture day to day to make things smoother?
It really comes down to showing respect, engaging thoughtfully. The source gives some great practical tips, like always using your right hand to give or receive things. It's more than just manners, it shows real respect. Dressing modestly, especially near religious sites. Again, it's about respecting local customs. And honestly, learning even a few basic phrases in Bahasa Indonesia, terima kasih for thank you, can make such a difference. People really warm up. And yeah, little things too, like don't point with your finger, use your thumb.
Yep.
Take your shoes off entering someone's home. These small things, they signal you're trying, you're respectful.
It sounds like those small gestures really add up, help you feel a bit more, well, at home. What about bigger things, more immersive experiences to really embrace local life?
Oh yeah, the guide definitely pushes for active participation, like visiting Kota Tua, the old town. It's not just sightseeing. You feel the history, the colonial past, it connects you. Or taking a cooking class, it's fun, you learn amazing Indonesian food, but it's also really communal. You meet people, you bond over food, and definitely try to attend local festivals or celebrations if you can, religious holidays, community events. That's where you really feel the city's pulse, way beyond a guidebook.
Right, that makes sense. So once you're starting to get the cultural vibe, the next huge thing is, where do you actually live? Finding a place in a city that size must be a challenge.
It can seem that way, yeah. The guide breaks it down nicely, focusing on a few key neighborhoods popular with expats. They each have a different feel. Kimang, for example. It's known for being lively, sort of bohemian, full of cafes, restaurants, little shops, definitely a social hub. Then you've got Pondok Indah, that's more suburban, bigger houses, gardens, really popular with families, partly because there are good international schools nearby. And Menteng, that's central Jakarta, more upscale, established, close to the business districts, has a nice historical feel too.
And what kind of places are available in those areas? Apartments, houses? What about the cost? Is it super expensive?
You get a mix. Apartments are probably the most common, everything from basic studios to really fancy penthouses. Price obviously depends massively on size, location, amenities pool, gym, that sort of thing. Houses give you more space, often the choice for families, especially out in Pondok Indah. And serviced apartments are always an option, particularly when you first arrive or for shorter stays. They handle cleaning and stuff. Costs? Well, yeah, in those popular expat areas, rent can be pretty high. But the guide does mention negotiation is often possible, expected even, so definitely worth trying.
Good tip. So say you find a place you like. What's the actual process, like signing a lease, deposits, any pitfalls to watch out for?
Yeah, getting a good property agent is really recommended in the guide. They know the market, help you find places, negotiate, and the landlord usually pays their fee, which is handy.
Oh, nice.
Then the absolute crucial part, Check that contract. Really understand the lease length, how payments work. Sometimes you pay a whole year up front.
Wow, really?
A year.
Yeah, it happens. And check for any break clauses, just in case. You'll definitely need a deposit, usually 1 to 3 months rent, plus some rent in advance.
Yes.
And the guide is super clear on this. Let's get everything in writing. No handshake deals. It's your protection.
Absolutely. Okay, roof over your head secure. Next big practical thing, money. Managing finances as an expat in Jakarta. What are the key things to know? Well, the guide has this interesting take. Jakarta can be surprisingly affordable, but it totally depends on how you live. If you dive into local markets, eat at Warings, those awesome little local food stalls, your food costs can be really low. But if you want lots of imported groceries or you're hitting fancy restaurants and clubs all the time, yeah, that adds up fast. And like we said, accommodation is usually the biggest chunk of your budget.
The source actually gives some ballpark figures for a single expat's monthly spend, which is helpful, like accommodation, maybe 8 to 20 million rupiah for a decent apartment. Groceries, if you're mostly local, maybe 2 to 4 million.
Yeah.
Transport, 500K to 1.5 million, depending on how you get around. Entertainment, eating out, social stuff, maybe 1 to 3 million. And then miscellaneous phone, internet, personal bits, maybe another 500K to a million. But yeah, they stress these are just estimates. Your personal spending habits make all the difference.
Those are really useful benchmarks, though, and tied into finances is healthcare. That's a big one. There is a public system, but most expats lean towards private hospitals and clinics. It's partly the English-speaking staff, but also generally better facilities, more specialists available, which leads straight to this. You absolutely need comprehensive health insurance. Non-negotiable. The guide strongly recommends making sure it includes medical evacuation coverage. For really serious stuff, you might need treatment outside Indonesia.
Right. Evacuation cover. Got it.
And when picking a plan, look closely. Hospital stays, outpatient, specialists, prescriptions, what's covered, what's the hospital network like, and super important, what are the exclusions? You need to know that up front.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
In just day-to-day banking, setting up accounts, managing money, is that straightforward?
Yeah, Jakarta's banking system is actually pretty modern and developed. You've got major local banks like BCA, BNI, plus international ones like Citibank. Opening an account is usually okay. You'll need the standard stuff. Passport, visa, maybe a letter from your employer. A big plus is that online banking is generally excellent, makes managing things easy wherever you are. Tips from the guide, be aware of fees for transactions, definitely use the online banking, and yeah, be careful with your cards, especially at ATMs. Standard precautions, really.
Okay, so moving to a huge city like Jakarta, it could feel a bit isolating at first, right? Maybe overwhelming. Building a social network must be incredibly important. How do you even start?
It's absolutely fundamental, yeah. The guide really pushes being proactive. One easy starting point is tapping into existing expat networks and social clubs. They offer that instant community feeling. Another great way is joining language exchange groups. You learn Bahasa, yes, but critically, you meet locals, get deeper cultural insights. Or things like taking a cooking class fun, hands-on, you meet people. Volunteering for local charities is another good one, connects you with like-minded folks, and you give back. The real key, though, is trying to branch out beyond just other expats. Connecting with Indonesians gives you that richer, more authentic city experience.
Are there specific groups or activities that are particularly popular with newcomers, sort of go-to places?
Oh yeah, definitely. Platforms like Internations are huge. They basically offer a ready-made community with tons of events on their calendar, casual drinks, themed nights, whatever. Makes it easy to just show up and meet people. Then you've got specific nationality groups, women's associations doing cultural events, charity stuff, social gatherings. The point is, Jakarta has these structures already in place to help you connect. You just need to look for them and be willing to join in.
And what about the professional side? Jakarta is a major business center. Is networking easy for expats? Are there good opportunities?
Yeah, as a business hub, networking is really important, not just for finding a job, but for building relationships, understanding how things work locally. There are loads of industry events, seminars, conferences happening, good places to meet people in your field. The guide also highlights how powerful LinkedIn is there for connecting and just staying in the loop. And the interesting thing is, sometimes the best opportunities come through those connections, maybe more so than just firing off applications online. Key industries where you see a lot of expats and networking is strong. Definitely finance, hospitality, tech is booming, and healthcare too.
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Jakarta's traffic. The guide says it's ranked among the world's worst. A 20-minute trip turning into an hour. How on earth do you deal with that every day?
Yeah, it's definitely a defining feature. Frustrating, for sure.
Yeah.
The trick is really knowing your options and often mixing them up. Transjakarta, the bus system, it's huge, covers a lot, and it's super cheap. But yeah, it's packed, especially rush hour. Then there's the MRT. It's new, clean, fast, a real lifesaver for avoiding traffic jams. But the network isn't huge yet. They are expanding it, though. Trains exist too, but maybe less reliable for a daily commute. And then you have ride-hailing Gojek, Grab, they're everywhere. Cars and motorbikes. Ojeks. Pretty affordable usually, but watch out for surge pricing when it's busy.
Ojeks,
Mm.
motorbikes, are they safe?
Well, they weave through traffic, so they're faster. Safety depends on the driver, wearing a helmet. It's calculated risk many take. The best bet is often combining things, maybe MRT partway, then a short Grab ride.
Right, multimodal, got it. And just general safety, beyond the traffic, what should newcomers be aware of?
Overall, Jakarta is generally safe for expats, but it's a massive, crowded city, so you need common sense. Petty crime like pickpocketing can happen, especially in busy markets or on crowded buses. Just keep your valuables secure, be aware. Road safety, as we touched on, is a big one if you're driving or on a bike yourself. Roads can be chaotic. The guide also mentions having a local SIM card with data is pretty essential for navigation, emergencies, everything. Basic stuff really helps. Don't flash expensive things around. Avoid walking alone late at night in poorly lit spots. Trust your gut feeling. Standard city smarts.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Career prospects, the economy. What's the job market actually like for expats in Jakarta? Is it easy to find work?
The guide describes it as a bit of a mixed bag. Opportunities are definitely there, especially in big multinational companies. But competition can be pretty fierce. And like we mentioned with networking, that often seems more effective than just sending resumes into the void online. Connections really can make a difference.
Are there particular industries that are more open to hiring foreign talent, where expats might have a better shot?
Yeah, the guide points to a few key areas. Finance is growing fast, banking, investment, insurance. International experience is often a plus there. Technology is huge. Big demand for skills in software development, data science, cybersecurity as Indonesia digitizes. Education, especially international schools. They're always looking for qualified teachers, administrators, often with specific qualifications from abroad. And manufacturing. It's a massive employer in Indonesia, and they often look for expats with expertise in things like engineering, supply chain, quality control.
What about opportunities outside of getting a traditional job, like for entrepreneurs or investors?
Oh, absolutely. With the growing middle class and rising consumer spending, there's definite potential there. The key thing the guide stresses, though, is understanding the local context, the regulations, the cultural differences in doing business. It's not always straightforward. Getting local partners or consultants is often really advised. Their insight can be invaluable. You generally can't just drop a Western business model in and expect it to work without adapting. And something else that's very common and relevant here is that many expats hire local staff like household help, drivers, nannies. It makes daily life much easier, but it's also a way you directly support the local economy and build connections.
So, pulling all this together, living in Jakarta as an expat sounds like, well, a really complex picture, but rewarding too.
Yeah.
You've got this modern life, this incredibly rich culture, a buzzing social scene, but then the traffic, the need to adapt. It sounds like a place that offers huge growth, personally and professionally, if you're up for it.
Exactly. It really highlights that core question for anyone considering it. How willing are you to embrace the challenges to get those rewards? The guide makes it clear understanding the culture, really adapting your mindset, figuring out how things work locally. That's what separates just surviving from actually thriving there. It's about being open, being resilient.
Yeah. Jakarta, it seems, with all that challenge and energy, really pushes you out of your comfort zone. Maybe the biggest aha moment isn't just learning about the city itself, but discovering your own flexibility, your own resilience when you're immersed in something so different. What unexpected ways might a deep dive into a completely new culture like that actually transform you?